How to defrost your olive oil, because it's so cold it's gone solid. Just put it on top of the pot. Just had our first dog walker arrive, and it's sort of pretty early, not even dawn yet, so good thing I took the tent down. This is my breakfast. I've been having porridge the last couple of days, and I actually decided to have, for once, I got these gluten-free, incredibly expensive because I bought them from the shop that was using them. I think they would usually sell them filled, so they like £1.20 each, is crazy price. But I was like, okay. But Granary, I hope they didn't pull a fast one. But that's from the deli store in Alfriston. They look lovely. So is this defrosted? I don't know. A little bit. And then using my Primula. As you can see, I actually planned to do porridge, and I was like, no, so I'm using it as a plate. You can. That's the nice thing about the overcast, so is you can just use them as a plate. Yeah, let's put that in there. Warm it up a bit. At the moment, I'm pretty much a grey day. Yeah, that's light enough to walk in. So after my breakfast, I will head off, and the tent's down. So this is where I was camping. That stone ledge made a very good shield from the wind. Although, I mean, the wind has dropped a lot, as I knew it would around today. It was just, I just wanted to be, after the nightmare of sleeping on the Seven Sisters headland, I just wanted to avoid any wind at all. But yeah, you can see down there's their car. They arrived very early. So I was like, oh my god. I was not expecting anywhere. This is the kind of time I would be packing up. So good thing I did it early, but it means I can get walking quicker and use more light of the day. And today I want to get past Lewes. I might pop into Lewes, or if I get to Brighton, that's a long way though. I don't know, they're not too far from each other, so I'm not sure. But if I get there, I'm going to see if I can find an outdoor store, anything that's an extra layer, because I'm worried about this slight dip in temperatures that's happening next week. And also if I can get any bioethanol, because I'm a bit worried about the fuel oil mess. Anyway, I have my breakfast and we'll head off. I'm heading off just at dawn. Now with a day like this, although it's supposed to be sunny today like this, it's hard to work out when dawn is, but it's very misty, as you can see. So amazing scenery. My part of the complaint is you're too big in your videos. You know, you want to see the scenery, so I'll probably do a cutaway in a second. But yeah, a fairly good night. Not too cold. In fact, not cold at all, really. Goes to show it's all about where you camp as much as what gear you have. But you know, it's also the gear itself. I'm not totally sure about the light tour. It's 5.8 must have been for people who were very warm sleepers. But because I think it runs colder than my 4. But it was okay. The night I didn't feel cold through it. I experimented with, what I've been saying about, you shouldn't put all your clothes on in bed and let the sleeping bag do its job. I did that, and then I put my down jacket on again because it's like I'd prefer to be a bit more toasty. It was okay. It wasn't cold, but it was sort of on that threshold. That's the reason why, as I said, I need to look up what places we have coming up in Brighton and Lewes. Lewes? How do you... Lewes? 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 I don't know. They're outdoorsy shops, because I think what would help, and what I'm kicking myself about, I didn't bring my camping mat. What you can see of the scenery is really good. Today is about kind of getting some miles in, I think. No detours, just motoring and finding those water spots, which is, as I'm going near Lewes, I expect there'll be places around there. Kind of a bit weirded out by that woman at Cadence Littlington. Not heard about any water taps. It's like, but they're on your map, which is bizarre. Tip: if you are an establishment and you do the refill thing, or you offer refills, please do it as a tap, a jug or whatever, a water fountain, please, because the problem is when someone says, oh, I'll fill it up for you, it's nice, but you can't camel up, because what you really want to do is camel up when you've got water opportunity. Camelling up is basically, you know, drink lots of water while you have an opportunity. I mean, not in situations like this, but amount of times in places people have been found who've died of dehydration and they actually have water on them. It's always best to have water in you rather than ration it extremely. You know, if you're thirsty, drink water. But when you get this thing where you kind of hand them a bottle, you don't feel like standing there chugging a whole load of water and then handing it back again. You feel like it's a bit rude. I asked her, do you have a tap? Yes. Where? Or even worse, I've had situations where they fill your bottle and they fill it halfway, or they fill it 2/3, they don't fill it at the top, and it's like, what? Anyway. Wow, look at the liking. Got a liking for that. Yes, Washington. This is what you should put over A24. That's what you call a bridge. It's near Southease. We have a station here. I'm hoping there might be some water or shops or something. Yeah, up on that hill there, I think it's called Ickford or Itford Hill. Though there are sheep, they don't seem to go near the woods. The woods look like a very good camping opportunity, and I also saw quite a few, I don't know, collapsed barrows or maybe bits between tubal, I don't know, but they were quite sheltered along to Firle Beacon. Looked very like good places to shelter for a wild camp. But yeah, onwards. I want to get past Lewes today. And indeed, near Itford House is the South Downs Youth Hostel. Youth Hostel, we have a cafe and, even better, a water refill, so I don't have to just sort of chouse them for water and get the weird thing where they half fill it. This is a swing bridge at Southease. Lots of places along the river, like here, and the paths up there, and some of the land you could easily tuck yourself there, or around here, and not be that visible from Southease. Obviously from the other side, but yes, could definitely camp around here. Oh, being by a river would be cold, but yeah, it's probably all Environment Agency land, and they're not going to bother you unless they're actually working on it. So, hey, we got a coffee from the very expensive and very tiny coffee from the youth hostel. There's apparently an outdoor shop in Lewes. It's a long schlep away from the South Downs Way, so I'm not sure what I'm going to do. That's the Bunkershill Plantation. That's a definite possible. It was a bit early. I don't want to sit around getting cold, waiting for it to go dark. But I might head back to that. My lunch, late lunch. A city on a rock. Esso service station near Houstein Farm, which is another water thing. And had some wine, which is actually helping. I know it's like, oh yeah, you shouldn't be hiking You shouldn't be out cutting the cold with wine, but it kind of deadens it a bit. So I'm heading for Ditchling Beacon or Ashburn Bottom, that sort of area. So if there's anywhere to camp there, if not I'll head back to that plantation, Bunkershill. And yeah, there was one before that, before the train line. It doesn't have a name, but it looked very interesting. Everything else was too near the road, too much noise. But I did see someone nipping over the fence. I think someone was camping by the road, but I was like, no, I don't fancy. It's A27 or something like that to Brighton. That's going to be noisy all night, so no. All set up in the spooky wood. Yeah. makes it even more spooky, the smoke. Just making a drink. And then we'll have some risotto. Ends up. And yes. And surprise, surprise, when I got here, I found a tent peg. It's a wood near Plumpton. It seems like almost every site I find under the woods, I find a tent peg. It seems to be an international sign of wild camping. I've walked 30 miles. It's hard to judge because I'm doing the mapping on OS maps, and the weird thing about the OS maps, it doesn't actually mark the South Downs Way properly, which is a bit strange. So yeah, it was quite grueling actually. I was doing about 16-17 miles because I was a bit like, oh, and, you know, we only did my last stop, it was 16 miles, and I was like, it's like 4 + 12, that's a bit slow. There was, and with including the detour, I was like, that's a bit less, so I wanted to make up. But it's true, when you hit about that 14-15 mark, my back really hurts. So we're now about to get into the section I already know. We're about 9 miles from Botolph's. The next water is about 4 miles. That's the other good thing as well. I've found we had the water at Southease Church. There's a tap there. Also at the youth hostel has a water fountain as well. Before that, there's an abundance of water. And also at House Dean Farm, there's a tap as well, a free tap, 24-hour tap. And the next one, allegedly, is, well, it says Downland Church, Pycombe, but it isn't a Downland Church, Pycombe, but there's another church, so maybe it's there. If not, there's it seems to be service stations. It seems to be nothing but service stations, you know. You expect to bump into a shop or a pub, and this path is very much away from all of that. At this point, and Pycombe seems to be more about 4 miles away. Seems to have a few things, so hopefully. Whereas you know, Alfriston, it went straight through Alfriston, so you know, it was fine, you know. So whereas like nothing, you know, since then it's been like, apart from the Esso garage, everything else has been like, you know, I have to walk a mile this way. There's a co-op that was about a mile away, and I'd have to walk 2 miles there and back. I was like, So there's very little that's actually on the route apart from water. But yes, so I'm hoping to get to Chanctonbury Ring. I might camp around there. The wind is now veered to be in my face, which is not so great. Some people said early on, oh, you've chosen the right way, and then other people said, why are you walking this way? You're walking into the wind. But when I was walking it before, I had east, northeasterlies, northerlies. Whichever way you would walk, you would get cold. you get blasted from one side or the other. So whereas now it's gone westerlies, west southwesterlies, and then it's going to, in a few days, it's going to go back to those east northeasterlies. So, but not high winds apart from obviously Chanctonbury. This is the wood. But yeah, you know, I don't know if it's graffiti or not really. I haven't seen any deers.
Will Tim find his holy water? Will he get eaten by deer in the Blair Witch Wood? Will you like and subscribe? Please, please, please. Will you watch this video from day 2 of this trip? These questions and more won't be answered probably in the next episode of Hike.